Hello, today I am going to talk about Loki, and for more information you can watch my previous video about Loki, and the last part is about God of War 4th. Loki is both a god and Jotun in Norse mythology. Loki is in some sources the son of Farbedi and Lovi, and the brother of Helbelendi and Byleister. By the Stalician Svaelferi, Loki is the mother giving birth in the form of a mare to the eight-legged horse Sleipnir. In addition, Loki is referred to as the father of Vali in Prose Edda, though this source also refers to Odin as the father of Vali twice, and Vali is mentioned as a son of Loki only once. Loki is the father of Hel, the wolf Fenrir, and the world serpent Jormungandr or Hormungandr. By his wife Sigyn, Loki is the father of Narfi and Nari too. Loki, who mischievously cut off all Sif's golden hair, Thor's wife. Thor seized Loki and would have broken every bone in him. Loki promised to make amends. When Loki returned to Asgard, he gave the new hair to Sif and Mjolnir, the Thor hammer. The hammer was heavy and only the thunder god had the strength to wield it. Means move it. Loki sometimes assists the gods and sometimes behaves in a malicious manner toward them. Loki is a shapeshifter, and a separate incident he appears in the form of a salmon, a mare, a fly, and possibly an elderly woman named Pog. Is Loki really just the god of mischief? One of the biggest God of War spoilers is to do with Loki, or more importantly, the fact that Atreus is Loki. The revelation means surprising comes from the fact Faye, Atreus' mother, is a giant and originally wanted to call him Loki, but she let Kratos name him after a Spartan general. In God of War, Atreus, Loki is just a young boy. In Norse mythology, he eventually goes on to father Hel, the goddesses of the underworld, who is Hela in Thor, Ragnarok, the world serpent, and Fenrir, the giant wolf who bites off the hands of Tyr and kills Odin in the mythological Ragnarok. If you are basing your knowledge of Loki on the MCU Marvel Cinematic Universe, you'll know that he is the adopted brother of Hela. There is no mention of the world serpent, and Fenrir is Hela's pet rather than a relative, or at least as far as we're told. But the MCU's Loki does confirm to the usual portrayal of the god as a shape-shifting, scheming coward who cares only for shallow pleasure and self-preservation, who is regularly playful, malicious, mischievous, and everything in between. When Atreus first finds out he is a god in the game, he asks Kratos whether he can turn into a wolf, which is not only a nod to the traditional understanding of Loki's powers, but also a link to his relationship with Fenrir in mythology. But there is no sign of him being able to shapeshift at all yet in the game, as so far all we've seen of Atreus' god-like qualities in his gift with languages and the fact he regularly hears voices. The latter could well be linked to the giants' prophecy, which is their ability to see everything that's going to happen, an ability that Odin desperately wants for himself, hence why Baldur was after them. Just before Kratos and Atreus scattered the ashes, they discovered the giant shrine telling the entirety of Loki's story, which ends with a rather ominous means impression, worry about impression, something bad will happen, and future-facing final panel. As for Thor, the god of thunder doesn't actually play a major role in God of War. He sends his sons Magni and Modi to hunt down Kratos and Atreus. But you never see him in the actual game. Well, until you unlock the God of War secret ending, that is, after you've taken Faye's ashes to the top of the mountain in Jotunheim, head back home and go to sleep, with Atreus exclaiming that he's going to sleep through winter. Father and son, wake up. Years later, they got a visitor. Thor's at their door, complete with hammer, dramatic music and blue lightning bolts. He doesn't actually say anything, but it is clear he's here to at least talk about Ragnarok, which always comes at the end of the long winter. Atreus and the dwarves have spoken about Fimbul winter. The fact that Thor thunders in at the end of God of War suggests he's going to play just as big a role in the series version of Ragnarok as he does in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's just a question of exactly why Thor is coming to see Kratos and Atreus. Does he need their help stopping Ragnarok? Does he need to use the power of prophecy that only the last remaining giant, also known as Atreus, would have? Or is he here to make the pair pay for killing his sons Magni and Modi just a few years late? Only time and more God of War content will tell. Ragnarok and the future of God of War. Interestingly, Atreus means Loki himself is also already well on his way to fulfilling two prophecies of Ragnarok. In Norse mythology, one of the Ragnarok catalysts is Loki killing Baldur using mistletoe. The myths outline that Baldur, just as he is in God of War, is protected from being killed or harmed by anything, thanks to the fact his mother Freya made a deal with everything that could possibly harm him, apart from mistletoe. It is the mistletoe arrow still holding Atreus' quiver together that breaks Baldur's invulnerability. Means impossible to harm in the game, but in Norse mythology, Loki crafts a spear out of mistletoe and passes it to a blind god to throw at Baldur. At a point where all the gods are having fun throwing things at the immune means protect Baldur. In mythology, what happens next is Loki and Fenrir take a huge army to Asgard, with Fenrir running across the lands with its lower jaw on the ground and its upper jaw on the sky, destroying everything. Thor and the world serpent have their fight, as they already have. Surtur and Freya destroy each other, and Loki and Heimdall, the far-seeing watchman of Asgard played by Idris Elba in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, have their own deadly battle elsewhere. A long time after all this happens, Baldur returns from the underworld to start the world all over again, with a new human pair called Leif and Lifthrasir, the equivalent of Adam and Eve, starting things anew, and eventually all the Norse gods return and things start over again. It could well be that Thor's arrival signals all of this starting in God of War, or at least some of the major battles that happen in traditional mythology. After all, Freya is going to want some revenge for Baldur's death. We already know Thor's going to fight the world serpent. A number of other key characters are in place, and we've had mentions of other players like Surtur too. Looks like there's a lot more God of War story to come. Thank you for watching.